Hello everyone, welcome to the final pod recap for the Vassal World Cup 2023, or at least my games in the 2023 Vassal World Cup. This is my last pod phase game against Solo, and wanted to go over again the lists and then the game itself in slideshow form. As always, I will go over my list in more detail at some point down the road. Probably again after the Vassal World Cup or something like that, we'll do a bit of a deep dive. But if this is the first one of these three videos you are watching, please go watch the other two. I think it's fun to watch them in order here. But this is my list with Kirsta Agate on an Assault Frigate Mark II-A with Gallant Haven, MC-30 with Foresight, Tornfar on a GR-75, Hondo on a GR-75, and then Jan and 7 YT-2400s. So, like I said, my list has not changed between games. This tournament thus far, I have gotten an 8 in my first round and a 10 in my second round. So I'm sitting at 18 points, and the next closest people are both at 12 at this point. So this game is just kind of a take care of business and move on to Swiss kind of game. My opponent is Solo Serenity, running Agate on an MC-30. Deck to the 9s, 119 points on it, with Expert Shield Techs, Ordnance Experts, ECMs, Racks, H9s, and Foresight. Another MC-30 Torpedo with Lando Officer, Ordnance Experts, Advanced Projectors, Racks, H9s, and Admonition. GR-75 with Tornfar, Comsnet, Bright Hope. Another GR-75 with 8R Talon and Boosted Comms, and then a ball of Ketsu, Shara, Dutch, Mart Matin, and 3 YT-2400s. So a lot of similarities in our lists here, both running Ag-8, both running MC-30s with Foresight, both running double transport, 4 ships, and both running somewhat of a rogue ball. I of course have an extra deployment because I've got 8 squads to Jordan's 7, but a lot of similarities in our game. So let's hop right in. This is deployment. I got pick, and so I chose to go second, and Jordan picked my capture the VIP, which is right there. I had the last 2 deployments here, since he went first, and he has one deployment less than I do, which was nice. Get to put down both of my big ships last, which is always what I want to do. He's got everything pointed at me. He's got speed 3 over here and speed 2 the rest, and then I am somewhat slow rolling here. I've got the MC-30 in position to grab that VIP token. Since I got to put it down, both my ships down last, Agate is over here, and I'm kind of afraid of her because it will take me a lot of shots to actually kill that thing. I have no chance of even getting close to one-shotting it because it's got 5 defense tokens. He went ahead and took a brace, and it's got EST, so it's just kind of nasty to take down. So I don't really want my MC-30 over near it since it's not going to be doing a whole lot. I'd rather have my MC-30 maybe threaten the Lando ship over here and or these 2 GR-75s, and then I know the Assault Frigate can take a punch, and as we get through this game you'll see it takes a lot of punches. So if something's going to hit me, or if the MC-30 here is going to hit any of my ships, I'd rather it be the Assault Frigate. I've gone for more of a conservative opening here. He's got his squads up pretty aggressively. I've got mine back because I want to play around Tornfar and Gallant Haven. One of my goals this game was to play around Tornfar better than I did in my last game. I just totally left her out to dry. She wasn't anywhere near the squadron fight. And so this game I knew that I needed to win the squad war. I needed to win it pretty handily to have a chance at killing either MC-30. And so I needed to have Gallant Haven and Tornfar positioning done correctly. My game plan going into this is A, just win the game. You know, I win and I'm in terms of getting into Swiss. And then B is don't lose anything big because let's say I get trapped with my ships and I get tabled here, then I could be out of Swiss. So all I'm thinking about is just win the game, whatever that ends up looking like. So we're going to jump straight into end of round 1. Some stuff has moved up here. Is this end of round 1? Yeah, sorry, this is end of round 1. So we've moved up. I sped up with the Assault Frigate there, but everything else is pretty much in the same position. Moved up to position myself to capture the VIP token, start of next round. And so he is kind of hanging back. This is where I started to get a little concerned. First of all, my YT-2400s, they all rolled horribly. I this whole game, it's kind of a theme of my dice were just terrible. Particularly the YT-2400s were horrible the whole game. Didn't matter if I had Torn Far there. They were just awful the entire game. I was able to shoot with all 7 of them. 3 of them shot this guy. It was obstructed, but still, nothing. This one shot over here and did 0 damage on 4 dice with a reroll. And then these 3 all shot at Dutch, 2 of them unobstructed, and could not kill Dutch. All of this within Torn Far range. So I was a little bit frustrated there, but, dice are going to dice. Vassal's going to Vassal. So at least I'm putting my positioning here is much better. I've got Gallant Haven range on these squads here. Everything is in Torn Far range, and everything is in Jan range. So my positioning here, I'm very happy with. But this was end of round 1, start of round 2. I've gone ahead a little bit here. This is after the activations of the filler ships. So both sets of GR75s have gone here. He had some squad commands, so he went with Dutch and turned off this dude with Dutch's ability, and also he 8R Taloned Dutch. He got Shara over here. Or sorry, he did not 8R Talon Dutch. My mistake. He 8R Talon Shara. And she shot here as well. That's down to 2. I ran over myself with Jan, and so Jan is kind of out of position. He also moved this and shot over here a little bit. But so far, nothing's died. Gallant Haven is doing its job, and the hull is holding up here. He's also moved Ketsu down to try and pin Jan. What he forgot, though, is that Jan's intel gives grit to herself, and so I can move her wherever I want her. So that is a little bit of a learning moment there. But like I said, this is where I was starting to get nervous, because the MC-30s are both positioning themselves to trap my assault frigate. The assault frigate can take a real big beating and fly out okay. The only issue is if it gets trapped and I can't jump out with it, then it can be really bad news bears. So this is where I was getting nervous of if he flies stuff correctly and I fly stuff poorly, I can end up getting trapped and losing that thing, which is a lot of points. That being said, I did some quick math just throughout the game, and I was thinking, if I lose that assault frigate, but I wipe all of his squads and get the VIP, I still win the game. Because it's not that expensive, and if I wipe out all of his squads, that's a good chunk of points, plus 50 for the VIP. So I wasn't too worried, but this is where I was kind of like, okay, got to focus up and do things right here, because he's putting me in a tough position, which props to Solo here. He did a good job with that. So this is the Agate MC-30 after its move. Did a good job of positioning itself for the double here, meaning I have to jump out to try to avoid a double, getting itself in a very threatening situation where I can't really get to anywhere where I'm going to be super safe. So that's a great move there. At this point, I have a decision of which of my 2 remaining ships do I go with, and I end up going with the assault frigate because I could foresee a world in where this MC-30 comes down to like right here somewhere, and I am firmly trapped, and that's how I could lose the game, is getting trapped there. So I go with the assault frigate. At this point in the game, I'm deciding that I'm not going to try to kill the Agate MC-30 because it's just too tanky and it's got EST, so my squads aren't really going to be able to hurt it at all. So instead, I'm going to try to go for this one over here. So instead, I used my shots to wipe out 2 of his YTs over here with a combination of the rerolls from Tauren and Ruthless Strategist can do a lot of damage. I think I also LTT'd one of them. So got those out of there. That's a good start. And I move up to where I'm not going to get trapped. I'm going to be able to get out of here. However, I'm still in a double arc from the Agate MC-30. It's going to be obstructed from the side, but unobstructed from the front. So that could really hurt. On top of that, this MC-30 may be able to position itself in such a way where I still take a close range shot next round. So a little spooky here, but this is really going to put to the test the tankiness of the assault frigate, which is a good limit test. It's good for me to practice that. Here we have end of round, or I should say the end of moving. There's still squads to go. He moved down this way, and sure enough is going to threaten me, make sure I end up at close wherever I move with that next round, which is, again, a beautiful move. You can tell he really knows how to fly these MC-30s. And he also ended up ramming me, so I took a hull damage there. Importantly, he also took a hull damage, which those things, they get rammed too much, they go down pretty easy. And then there was a proximity mine that he placed with Mart right here, and I just shot it with a reroll with the MC30, and then moved up this way, so I was out of the close side arc there. I'm 99% sure that Foresight could take the shot from this MC30 even with racks. My only concern is he gets a natural accuracy and then H9s the other blue die to an accuracy and then does a bunch of damage. Blocks both my redirects. That could really be a problem. I could see Foresight popping there, which is not great. But like I said, this is the end of ship movement. We just got some squads left to go. And this is end of round here. So Dash is dead. Shara is half dead. Jan just flew out of there, so it's see ya, Ketsu. And I have wiped out he had another YT over here, I believe, and that is now dead. So I have still all 7 of my YTs alive, and Jan, my squad ball, is fully intact, and his is over half gone. That is the beauty of Jan plus Gallant Haven plus a ton of hull on your squads. So while my squads weren't rolling the best, my defensive tech was plenty to keep them alive. 2 of them surviving on 1 is pretty nice. Here we have round 3. This is the shot from the side of Agate here. He elected to go with this one first, which is absolutely the right play. Both of them had good shots here, but you're guaranteed to get this shot anyway after I move, so this is the right play because Agate shoots out the side. It's a pretty decent shot. He dropped a blue for obstruction and then H9 that to an accuracy and did 8 damage. I believe he blocked my redirect here. So, or he blocked something. I forget what it was. But I was able to take the damage, not too bad, and not take any hull damage. And then his second shot, he shot into the butt here, and I redirected it. Excuse me, he did accuracy the redirect last round, and last shot, and I discarded it because I knew I could get it back with Walix. So I moved some damage around, ending up with 0, 1, 0, 3 in shields, but didn't take any hull damage, and importantly, did not take any crits there, because if I would have gotten a crit where it's like my maneuvering is impacted, then that'd be bad news. So that's where he ends up. Still kind of staying in the fight, but I should be able to get away from him at this point, so I'm not super scared of that MC30 anymore. I end up using my shots with the assault frigate to flak again, and I peppered this one just a little bit, but did a grand total of 1 damage to the shield. But I flaked some squads, so Shara is gone, and the only things he has left are Mart and Ketsu, so squad war is looking good. I got my redirect back with Walix, and then I hopped up here at speed 3, which I thought was a good move to A, dodge the rock, and B, stay only in the slide arc of this MC30, don't get doubled. I was scared that if he went with his like rear into my rear and then added racks onto that and then went side into rear, that could spell trouble. So I thought about this move for a while and ended up finding the one that was just in his side arc, which you can see right here. And I actually had a little bit of room to spare, so it wasn't all that tight. So some other stuff goes. Some ships here move around. These 2 GR75s I end up choosing to ram here, and that's going to be important later. He has activated Mart and tried to do some stuff, and then I activated squads with my GR75s and wiped out Mart and got everything healing up on the station there and saved Jan on 1 hull after Mart shot her. And so then we move to the shot from the rear of the MC30 into the assault frigate here, and that's another good roll. This is after he set the H9's accuracy there, and again we're looking at 7 damage. Blocking redirect again, so I end up discarding my evade and discarding my redirect and spending another brace to end up taking, I've got no shields here, no shields up in the front, and then 1 and 1 right there. He moves speed 1. He was taking a long time with this maneuver, and I thought he might not see it, but he just moved up speed 1 so that he keeps the double arc on the assault frigate for next round. At close, mind you. So again, good move by him. Does take 2 damage though from that debris field. So this is the end of round. I ended up moving the MC30 up here just on the off chance that it can still be a part of the game, but mainly just flying away with the VIP. So I get those 50 points and don't get tabled no matter what. And then my squads finished off Ketsu, and started trying to bomb the side of this MC30. However, they continued to roll like garbage. I think I missed more than I hit in terms of bombing dice, which is not what you want to see on a 75% chance. But again, dice are going to dice. So this is end of round 3, start of round 4 right here. Here is the side shot from the MC30 into the rear of the assault frigate. I discarded reinforced blast doors to bring back my one remaining hull. You know, it's a bit of a waste to use RBDs on just one card, but I didn't want to risk it, like on the off chance that he pulled structurals and did a bunch of damage. I wanted to make sure that I was still getting out of there, because I knew that if I survived this double arc here, I'm home scot-free. This is his shot after H9s and rerolls. He had originally 6 damage showing. He had double, single, single, and then crit accuracy here. He went ahead and set that to an accuracy with H9s. Not 100% sure why, because I had 2 braces. I don't really know why he did that. And then he got greedy looking for doubles and ended up rolling a hit into a blank. So only looking at 4 damage, braced that to 2. So just taking a face up, face down. The face up did not end up being anything super impactful. And then he jumped out of there. I guess he didn't have the double arc or something, because he didn't do any more damage to me than that. So anyway, he ends up right here. And then some GR75s went. I went here and rammed. He went with this GR75, which is with ADAR around the edge. And since he didn't go with this one, I had the opportunity to swing my other GR75 in there and blow up his Torn Far Bright Hope, which Bright Hope is super annoying unless you ram it 3 times. Then it goes down nice and easy. So these things may not have any guns on them, but they dealt 3 damage and killed a ship, among other things this game. So great use of those GR75s there. This is after his other MC30 went. He was only able to do 1 damage with an accuracy to my Torn Far, so it is still alive. And this is the move he decided to make. Moved up to speed 4 with Agate. He, at this point, I think was just like, well, we'll move up here and have some fun, see what happens. I still haven't gone with either of these ships, and he knew this was not like the smart points preservation play, but I'm already running away with this game at this point. I've wiped his whole squad ball, and I've got the VIP, and he has killed nothing yet. So, in an attempt to make some more stuff happen and see if he can get lucky and grab something, he went ahead and moved up there, which, you know, I can appreciate that. If he didn't win big, he was knocked out of the tournament, so might as well try and get that up there. So I ended up shooting him with double arc from the assault frigate and did okay damage. I stripped a few shields and then had my 1 big shot from the MC30 into him and stripped some more shields, but it being Foresight, it just, you know, you spent all of its tokens, discarded an evade, Agate used ECMs on stuff, and so I was never going to deal all that much damage to it, as you can see there. This MC30 moved down. It's not, after it's going to blow up Torn Far, but after that it's not really relevant the rest of the game. And then this was my move. Since he moved up, I wanted to keep myself in relative threat range to try and get my side arc on him no matter what next round. And so I moved right into that front arc there to where my Foresight is in no real danger, and no matter where he lands, he's going to end up in my side arc. So that is after my MC30 moved, and here is end of round. I threw a few shots at this MC30 and blanked out on them all. Moved my stuff over here and blanked out on half my shots against that MC30, so all I accomplished was stripping 1 shield and dealing 1 hull damage. Everything else just kind of healed up and stayed down here. And yeah, continued to roll poorly, so the MC30, I was not able to get it to spend any of its redirects, which was very unfortunate. That's the best way for me to deal with it, is to overheat those redirects. So this is the end of the round. This is start of round 5. He shoots and moves with Agate, of course. Still ends up in my side arc there. I don't have my racks anymore, so my damage is going to be a bit lower. But he jumps up that way. This is the edge of the board, though, up here. So he's in a little bit of trouble there. Rest of the round kind of plays out as you'd expect. I activate some stuff and try to do a little bit more damage here and whiff on basically everything. He blows up my Torn Far here. I move my stuff up here and try to pepper that MC30. I shoot it with the rear here and side here and basically accomplish almost nothing. But it ends up not mattering because with the way he had his speeds and everything, he ended up flying off the board. Even if he had been able to get to speed 4, the corner would have still been off the board. So he just kind of ran out of space there. To top it all off, we just, as a thought experiment at the end of the game, had me roll 5 black dice, assuming I could get my stuff there, and because he had no relevant shields, and so I needed to deal 5 damage to get past those ESTs, and I dealt 5 for 5, so my boys came through. It didn't really matter because he flew off anyway, but they would have come through at the end, which I appreciate. But that ended up wrapping up the game. He killed one of my YTs with a flak shot. My YTs refused to die until the very end. He got the hit he needed to kill one of them. So final score ended up being 323 points to me and 41 points to him. On my end, Torin Farr died and one of my YTs died. And then on his side, his flagship flew off, so I got his flagship, his Torin Farr, all of his squads, and the VIP. So that ends up being a 282 MOV, which is a 9-2. Didn't really have an opportunity to get a 10-1, but honestly, it doesn't matter that much. There was really nowhere else for me to score those points with how the game shook out, and so losing my YT didn't end up mattering for score. So I end the pod phase with an 8, a 9, and a 10 for a total of 27 points, which my MOV total ended up being 820 over 3 games. So let me go ahead. I'll pull over the thing here. So here's the sheet. As of today, I'm recording this Monday night. Still a few games left to be played in some of these groups, but our pod is done. So I won the pod with 27 points, with 820 MOV. Caribbean Ninja came back from the 8-3 loss to me and knocked out a 9 and a 10 in his other 2 games to end with 22 and an MOV of 655. So the 2 of us are moving on. Solo ends with 14 and Star Wars Master ends with 3. I would just like to say to all my podmates, it was a pleasure playing all of you. I really enjoyed all 3 games. I thought all 3 games had some really exciting moments. I hope you do all the best. Caribbean Ninja, best of luck in Swiss with me, and then the other 2, if you guys play in the Last Chance World Cup, have fun there. So I wish you the best of luck. But that is going to wrap up our recap of pod phase for my games. Going forward, I will be attending the Las Vegas Open to play Armada. Leave on Thursday, so that tournament is Friday, Saturday. So I will be there the whole weekend, playing some Armada there. It should be a great time. I believe Taserface is, I think, going to TO that, or at least that's in the rumblings. Don't want to say anything too confirmed yet. But that should be a great time. I'm excited to, those of you who watch, who are going to LVO, please come say hi. I'm going to be there with a lot of friends. We're getting a house together. It's going to be a great time. But in terms of Vassal World Cup content, it'll be a little bit of a hiatus for that. I don't know exactly when pod phase is going to end. It's scheduled to end, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday. And I don't know if there's going to be any kind of extension or if they're going to do like Swiss pairings right away and how long the window is for Swiss pairings. I'm not sure. If I had to guess, I'll be playing my Swiss game sometime during the week next week. Not sure exactly when that will be. But for Swiss, I'm going to try to get the game recaps out right after the games happen. Instead of, like for pod phase, I waited and did them all at the end here. Swiss games, I think I'm just going to try to do them after each game if I can. Again, not sure exactly when that will be. Maybe sometime next week or next weekend. Not sure. But then in terms of an LVO recap, I may do, depending on how I do it, LVO, it might be a quick video, it might be a full tournament report. I'm not sure. I'll try to have something out for that, but I'm not gonna give a date. I have no clue when I'll get that out. But expect to see that, and then it's looking like I'm not going to have time to do a January list review video. So for those of you who've submitted, thank you so much for submitting. We have a lot of submissions. It's looking like it's going to probably be early February, or at the very least sometime after LVO. But I will try to fit that in somewhere and go over those, because like I said, a lot of submissions, which I really appreciate. It's just going to take me a while to go through those and write down my thoughts and everything and then make the video. But look forward to that at some point. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you later.